It's working? Action?
Is there anything specific a couple should learn or read?
Okay. Welcome, Rabotai, to another shiur of a Wednesday night. We're back after Pesach. Sorry for the hiatus. This shiur is la'atzlachat, all the people who give to the Yisachar Zevulun. May Hashem bless them with zivugim agunim, with parnasa tova, yeshuot gedolot. May Hashem guide them to the right path. May they see only hatzlacha and nachat from their children. And may they be zocheh lechol medmetav. V'chen yatzum v'nomar. Amen. Tonight, our shiur, amen, is about one of the most amazing individuals that the Jewish people ever had in their midst. An individual that was so amazing and that was so great, that had all the odds against him. All the odds. That means he had everything working against him in life. Everything. But yet he rose up from the ashes. He rose up from the deepest klipa, and we're going to learn why exactly, to become a man that the Gemara says in Masechet Yebamot, Daf Tet Zayin, page 16b, that his name was from one end of the world to the other end of the world. A man that suffered so greatly in his life. And even though he only saw the good in everything. And that man is no other than Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef. Now before we're going to go into what's the connection between Rabbi Akiva and Sfirat HaOmer, because we know Shulchan Aruch says after the halachot of Pesach, it says over there that we have a minhag, and during the 50 days, or to be more exact, the 33 days of the Sfirat HaOmer, we don't shave. Why don't we shave? As a sign of avelut, as a sign of mourning to the death of the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara in Masechet Yebamot, page 62 says, in these 3 weeks that the students of Rabbi Akiva died, the Gemara says, the world became black. Could you imagine? 24,000 Rav Ovadias passing away in 3 weeks' time. 24,000 Tanaim. 24,000 giants in Torah. Not any kind of giants. Each one could do Techet HaMetim. Tana Dabe Eliyahu said that when Rabbi Akiva used to teach his students Torah, laymen and Amaretz could see the fire of the Shekhinah surrounding them. Do you know what it is for one man to teach 24,000 people at the same time? Who was Rabbi Akiva? To understand who Rabbi Akiva was, on a pashut level, on a simple level, who he was, we have to look deep inside the Gemara. The Gemara in Masechet Ketuvot, page 62 says, Rabbi Akiva was a shepherd. Like many great men before him, Moshe Rabbeinu, Yaakov Avinu, he was a shepherd. He was a shepherd of a man called Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua means a fed dog, or a satiated dog. Why did they call him that? Because anybody who used to come inside his house used to come out full like a dog. Kalba Savua had a daughter. Her name was Rachel. This Rachel, she had all the privileges in the world. She was the daughter of one of the 3 richest men in Israel. The Gemara in Masechet Gittin says there were 3 rich men in Israel. One of them was Kalba Savua. He was so rich that from his money alone, he could have supported the whole Jerusalem for 10 years. Do you know what it means to support the whole Jerusalem for 10 years? That's how rich he was. She was destined for greatness. One day, she goes out into the field Her father had a lot of flock, a lot of sheep. And she sees this boy, Akiva. He wasn't a boy. He was almost 40 years old by that time. 40 years old. The Gemara in Masechet Pesachim said that when Rabbi Akiva was teaching his students, he used to tell them, when I was an Am Haaretz, when I was a shepherd, I used to hate Talmidei Chachamim. I used to hate religious people. I hated them so much that I used to say, give me a Talmid Chacham, I'm going to bite him like a donkey. So his Talmidim told him, why bite like a donkey? Say bite like a dog. So Rabbi Akiva told his students, I hated the Talmidei Chachamim so much. When a dog bites, he bites and he lets go. When a donkey bites, he bites until he cracks the bone. He doesn't let go, the donkey. I hated them so much, I wanted to break each one of them, their bones. That's how much I hated them. So let's understand who he was. He was according to the Pashut of the Gemara, according to Rashi, he was a Am Haaretz Gamur. This great man, who eventually became one of the greatest men of Israel. He was a Am Haaretz. He didn't know Torah. According to the Avot Rabbi Natan, he didn't even know Aleph Bet. He didn't even know Aleph Bet. The Gemara says, this Rachel saw this boy, Akiva, and she said, he's modest. He's tsanua. How do you say modest?
Skromny.
Skromny. He's a modest guy. I want him for my husband. She goes to him and she tells him, if I'm gonna marry you, you're gonna go learn Torah? Today, what the woman ask a guy before they get married? If you're gonna marry me, you're gonna show me your bank account? No prenup. She said, if you marry me, you're gonna go learn Torah? He said yes. Now Rabotai, let's take this into perspective for a second. How does a guy, 40 years old already, most of your life has passed? David HaMelech says, 70, 80, 100. How did he have the guts at the age of 40 years old to go learn Torah? How did he have the guts? He fell in love, you're saying.
I think she was beautiful. He used to hate.
The Gemara said, love is one thing, but when you hate something, love doesn't help.
Wow.
Especially according to Chachamim, love only happens after marriage. The Chachamim say, the Gemara says, that Rabbi Akiva, at the age of 40 years old, he went with his little son. 2 years old, he went with him to kindergarten. He didn't go online to go learn. He didn't hire himself a Rebbe. He didn't care that he was embarrassed. He went with his little son to Cheder, to learn Aleph Bet. The Gemara says Rabbi Akiva wasn't so smart. He wasn't the smartest guy out there. It took him years to learn how to read. Today, Rabotai, person says, oh, we have transliterated books, we have translations. I don't have to learn how to read Hebrew. He didn't have to learn how to read Hebrew. His wife didn't tell him, go be a Talmid Chacham. She said, you're going to go learn Torah? You could go to a shiur if he wants. He went to learn Aleph Bet. He wasn't embarrassed. Avot Rabbi Natan said, what made Rabbi Akiva able to embarrass himself to the point where he's sitting? Imagine a 40-year-old guy, he's sitting in a room. Everybody, all the kids are sitting in the small chairs and they're saying, Aleph, Bet, Bet, Aleph, Aleph, Kamatz'ah. And suddenly you have a 40-year-old guy sitting with his son over there saying, Aleph, A, Bet, Ba. Embarrassing, no? What made him do that? The Avot Rabbi Natan said one day he was walking through a field and he saw a rock. And he saw this rock and he saw that the tipot hamayim, that there were drops of water hitting the rock. Every day he used to pass this rock. Till one day he sees there is a hole in the rock. And he said, he did a kal vachomer, if this rock, which is solid, if a drop of water could make a hole in the rock, then a drop of Torah could make a hole in the head of Rabbi Akiva. Rabotai, the Gemara says that he went to learn Torah for 12 years. His wife sent him, go learn. I don't want you to come back home. After 12 years, he came back with 12,000 students, the Gemara Masech Ketuvot says. You know what 12,000 students is? The 12 years. People learn Torah today, 50 years, they don't even have 1,000 students. 12,000 students he came back with. He went to this door, he was about to knock, and he heard a guy tell his wife, Rachel, Rachel, your father kicked you out of the house. He said, I'm not giving you a penny, you married Am Haaretz. Until when you're going to be a widow while you're alive? Go divorce this Akiva. Marry some rich guy. Live a life like a princess. So Rachel told this guy, if I had the chance, if my husband was listening, I would tell him to go back for another 12 years. And that's what he did. He didn't go inside the door. He turned around with 12,000 students, and he came back after 24 years with 24,000 students. And when he came back, the Gemara says, enough to fill a baseball stadium. His wife came to run to him, and she was wearing cut clothes. Why? She didn't have any money. The Gemara says that one day, Rabbi Akiva, before he went to learn Torah, was with his wife in the house. And they only had hay. How do you say hay? The food of the horse. Hay. And his wife was crying. She says, we don't have anything to eat. And Hashem made a miracle. He sent Eliyahu Hanavi to the door, and he knocked on the door, and he said, does anybody here have hay? And Akiva told his wife Rachel, you see, there are some people in the world that are even worse than us. Some people don't even have hay. Say thank you to Hashem that we have hay. That's what the Gemara says. Don't look at the cup half empty. Look at it half full. Because somebody out there in the world has it even less than you, has it worse than you. And he came back after 24,000 years and he told his students, they wanted to kick her out. He says, who's this woman? She came and she kissed his legs. And she told him, Akiva! And the student says, get out of here! And they said, leave her. Don't touch her. My Torah and your Torah is her Torah. On this it says, Eshet Hayil, Ateret Ba'ala. Rabotai, you think Rabbi Akiva, after he learned so much Torah and had 24,000 students, he was a Baal Ga'ava? The Gemara in Masechet Yebamot, page 16 says, there's a special halacha. Big machloket in Masechet Yebamot. Machloket Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel. It's called Tzarat Erva. Let's say two brothers, for example. One married his brother's daughter. According to halacha, a person is allowed to marry his niece. So he married his brother's daughter and he married a second wife. He married two wives. One is his niece and one is another woman. Now, let's say the brother died without having any kids. Without any kids. The halacha is, Beit Hillel says, because the other brother, which is his amak, can't do yibum. Why can't he do yibum? Because it's his daughter, right? He can't marry his daughter. Because the halacha is to do yibum, levirate marriage. If your brother passes away without kids, you have to marry your brother's wife. But he can't marry his brother's wife. Why? Because it's his daughter. How about the other wife? So the halacha is that Beit Hillel says that also the other wife is patur. He also can't marry the second wife because she becomes automatically an erva. Beit Shammai says no. Beit Shammai says you are allowed to marry the second wife. Now, according to Beit Hillel, if the brother ended up marrying a second wife, the child is a mamzer. According to Beit Shammai, it's kasher. So there was a big machloket in Am Yisrael because back then they did yibum. At the end, the halacha was paskin like Beit Hillel. You're not allowed to marry the second wife. During the days of Rabbi Akiva, there was a rabbi from the students of Beit Shammai named Ben Harkinas. Ben Harkinas. He was an old rabbi. He lived to see the Nevi'im. That's how old he was. And he said you are allowed to marry. He went against the Chachamim. And he was too old to go to the Beit Midrash, to go to the yeshiva to argue with the rabbis. So the rabbis are going to say, who's going to go and tell him that the halakha is not like you? So 3 rabbis went. Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, and Rabbi Akiva. Both 3 rabbis went to go tell him that halakha is not like you. This rabbi was very old, he couldn't see already. They came, they knocked on the door. His servant opened up the door, and Ben Harkina said, who's over there? And the servant said, Chachamei Yisrael came to see you. Right away, this old man got up from his chair, he took Rabbi Yeshua, and put him on a golden bed, the Gemara said. And he said, who's this other rabbi next to you? He says, this is my Talmid, this is my student, Elazar ben Azariah. He said, come, let him sit with us also. Then he said, who's the other rabbi? He said, his name is Akiva. He said, oh, this is the Akiva ben Yosef, that his name is said from one end of the world to the other end of the world. Come, let him sit, let him sit. They were talking, the Gemara said, for hours of a halakha, till they got to this halakha of could you marry the tzara, the second wife of your daughter's husband if it was your brother. And they told him, why did you paskin that the halakha is like Beit Shammai? And he said, I swear, I remember Chagai Hanavi, the great prophet, that he sat on this rock and he said that she's asur, that halakha is like Beit Hillel. So they said, how come you paskin like Beit Shammai? And he said, it wasn't me. You heard wrong. My name is Dosa ben Harkinas. You were probably talking about my brother, Yonatan ben Harkinas. And he told them, be careful. Don't argue with him. Why? He's so kharif. You know what kharif is? He's so sharp that he has 300 answers. 300 answers? How come you're allowed to marry the second wife and the halakha is like Beit Shammai? So what happened? The rabbis were afraid to argue with him now. So they were trying to run away. They don't want to argue with the brother. So the Gemara says they all left a different doorway. But the brother was waiting by one of the doorways. And who did he catch out of all 3 of them? Rabbi Akiva. His luck. He caught Rabbi Akiva. And he started to argue with him. And the Gemara says Rabbi Akiva couldn't beat him. And this Yonatan ben Harkinas told Rabbi Akiva, you're the guy that they say you're the greatest rabbi in Israel? You don't even equal a shepherd. Could you imagine? 24,000 students. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is your student. And he tells him in front of everyone, you don't even equal to the level of a shepherd. He made fun of him. Why? Because he used to be a shepherd. He knew who he was. What did Rabbi Akiva tell him back? He says, I don't even equal to the level of the dog of a shepherd. That's how humble Rabbi Akiva was. Even though he was the president of all the rabbis, even though he was the greatest Rav of Am Yisrael, 24,000 students, he was so humble that he told Rabbi Yonatan ben Harkinas, I don't even equal to a shepherd. You told me I'm a shepherd? I don't even equal to a shepherd. He was so humble. The Ari Kadosh says that Rabbi Akiva was a nitzotz of Moshe Rabbeinu. How so? There were 3 men that lived till the age of 120 years. 40 years they didn't learn Torah. 40 years they learned Torah, and 40 years they taught Torah. The Ari Kadosh in Shara Gilgulim says, for 40 years Moshe Rabbeinu was a prince of Egypt. Then for 40 years he ran away and he learned Torah when he was living in the house of Yitro as a shepherd. Then he came back to Mitzrayim. How old was he? 80 years old. He taught Torah for 40 years. Wow. The second rabbi was Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, the Rebbe of Rabbi Akiva. For 40 years, he was a businessman. He was a businessman. Then for 40 years, he dropped everything and he went to learn Torah. And then after 40 years, he taught Torah. Rabbi Akiva for 40 years, he was a Amaretz. Then after that for 40 years, he learned Torah. Then after that for 40 years, he taught Torah. Each one lived till what age? 120 years old. Now you know why when Moshe Rabbeinu was in Har Sinai, Hashem showed him all the rabbis that will ever live. Moshe Rabbeinu saw Rabbi Akiva and he said, you have a guy like this in your world and you want to give me the Torah? Give him the Torah. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, shtok. Be quiet. Kach ala b'machshava. This is how I thought the world to be. Now I want to ask you guys a question. Couple of questions. How come Rabbi Akiva was subjugated to be an Amaretz for 40 years? The Gemara says a story. One day Rabbi Akiva was walking and he finds a dead man on the road. A dead man. And the halacha is if you find a Jewish guy, chas v'shalom, dead, what do you have to do? You have to bury him. It's called mitzvah. Even a Kohen Gadol has to bury him. Has to become tameh. Because a Kohen Gadol can't even touch his 7 closest relatives. So what did Rabbi Akiva do? Rabbi Akiva said, I'm going to bury him. He was a Talmid at that time, of a student. He took the dead guy on his back and he walked to the nearest cemetery. He didn't know that the halacha is you're not allowed to walk the dead guy to the cemetery. You have to bury him on the spot. When he went back to the yeshiva, his Rebbes, Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, said to him, for every step that you took, you were chayav mitah. You were liable to the death penalty. Why? You were mevazeh. You desecrated a dead body. So Rabbi Akiva had a certain kind of stumbling block in front of him. He didn't reach the level that he did right away. He had to pass a certain test. Why was that? Rabotai, we have to go back, the Ari says. We have to go real back. First, let's go to his parents. The Gemara in Masechet Brachot says Rabbi Akiva was the son of converts. Rabbi Akiva ben Gerim. His father's name was Yosef. This Yosef, he wasn't a rich guy. There is a midrash that says, you guys remember in Parashat Vayeshev, in Sefer Bereshit, that the brothers said, let's sell Yosef HaTzadik. Remember they said that? Mm-hmm. Let's take him and sell him. First Shimon and Levi said, let's put the dogs on him. Let the dogs rip him up. And then Yehuda said, what did Yehuda say? Let's sell him. Why should we spill our brother's blood? Arabs came, Midianim came, and they sold him for how much?
Shoes,
20 shekel. For a pair of shoes. The Midrash says, there were 9 brothers. They needed 10. Why? Reuven wasn't there. Yosef was being sold. And Binyamin was too young. So what did they do? They said the Shekhinah, God, you're going to be the 10th. Today, if you're going to pray Minyan, 9 people, you don't have a 10th guy, you can't say, Hashem, you're going to be one of us. But if you're the Shvatim, you could say that. So they sold him for 20 shekel.
9 brothers.
Yeah, 9 brothers there were. Take 20 and divide it by 10. How much you get? 2. Each brother took 2 shekel. They took the last 2 shekels and they threw it to the Shamayim. Says, Hashem, this is yours. And they threw it up. Those 2 shekels fell into the ground. And they were covered by the ground. The earth swallowed it. After 1,000 years, who found them? Yosef, the father of Rabbi Akiva. He didn't have money to marry his wife. The earth spit out those 2 shekels. He took those 2 shekels and he married his wife. That night, she got pregnant. And they named the son Akiva. Rabotai, The Ari Kadosh says there were 10 men that died on Kiddush Hashem, 10 Rebbis. Rabbi Ishmael Kohen Gadol, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, Rabbi Hanania ben Tradion, Rabbi Hanina ben Chachinai, Rabbi Yeshvev HaSofer, Rabbi Chutzpit HaMeturgeman, Rabbi Yehuda ben Baba, Rabbi Yehuda ben Dama, and Rabbi Hanna ben Tradion. Those were corresponding the 9 brothers. Who was corresponding the Shekhinah? Rabbi Akiva. The Shekhinah said, I have nobody for me. I'm going to take that son of converts. The Shekhinah said, those 2 shekels that the brothers threw up to the Shamayim, those are going to be the same 2 shekels that Yosef is going to marry his wife, and they're going to have a son, Akiva. That was Akiva ben Yosef. He was Keneged the Shekhinah. Why did Rabbi Akiva have to die such a horrible death? He died on Kiddush Hashem. The Gemara says that his skin was combed off his face. The Ari Kadosh says, because Rabbi Akiva and the 9 rabbis, they were the 10 drops of Yosef HaTzadik. When Yosef HaTzadik was about to sin with Potiphar's wife, he was about to sin, he hit his legs in the floor like this, and 10 drops left him. Those 10 drops of Zer Levatala became the 10 souls of the 10 rabbis. And Rabbi Akiva was Keneged the Shekhinah. Because his soul was made from a Zer Levatala, he had to go through a cleansing process. He had to become one of the 10 martyrs. Now, why did Hashem tell Moshe Rabbeinu, Kach ala b'machshava? Moshe said, how could such a guy die such a horrible death? He's the greatest rabbi. Do you know all of the Gemara, all of the Mishnah is the teachings of Rabbi Akiva? Did you know that? Everything. Everything. Rabbi wrote it, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wrote it, based on the teachings of Rabbi Meir Balanes. Rabbi Meir Balanes is the student of who? Rabbi Akiva. Everything is Rabbi Akiva. Everything. Why did he have to die such a horrible death? Hashem said, that's how I thought the world to be. Now, Rabotai, I'm about to tell you a secret. A secret that's written in Shara Kavanot of the Ari Kadosh. The Ari Kadosh says, from the time of the destruction of the second Beit HaMikdash, our prayers can't go up to Shamayim. They need a push. They need a catalyst. They need an enzyme. What is that? Those are the 10 rabbis who died on Kiddush Hashem. All of our tefillot go up to Shamayim only in the merit of the Kiddush Hashem of these 10 rabbis. Only in their merit. And where do we have that kavanah? When we say El Nekamot Adonai, El Nekamot Hofia. God is the God of revenge. When do we say that? After Hodu. The Ari says anybody who doesn't have the kavanah of the 10 rabbis, at that moment when we say El Nekamot Hashem, his tefillah didn't go up that day. Right after we say Hodu La Hashem, after the first Kaddish in Shacharit, we say El Nekamot Hashem. That El Nekamot Hashem, you have to have kavanah, may Hashem take revenge on the 10 rabbis that died on Kiddush Hashem, which the greatest was Rabbi Akiva. And if you don't have that kavanah that day, your tefillah doesn't go up. Now Rabbi Akiva had a motto in life. He said, V'ahavta lere'echa kamocha ze klal gadol b'Torah. Now I want to tell you guys a secret. Another secret from the Ari Kadosh. I hope you guys will be amazed. The Ari Kadosh says that Rabbi Akiva's soul came from the da'at, from the mind of Adam Harishon. How so? Rabotai, there's 3 brits. 3 brits. 3 covenants we make with Hashem, like you guys all know. One is called ot tefillin. Right? Tefillin is a ot, it's a brit. Then you have Shabbat. Shabbat is a ot. Right? Shabbat. It's a covenant between us and God. What's the third one? Brit Milah. How many witnesses do we need to testify that we're Jewish people? 2. So every day we put on tefillin, and we have a Brit Milah. On Shabbat we don't put on tefillin, so we have Shabbat. Right? So we have 2 ots, 2 testifications. How about women? Women don't have a ot. How do we know that they're gonna go to Olam Haba? So I heard a chidush. There is a halakha the Chachamim said called Hadlakat Nerot Shel Shabbat. According to halakha, how many lights do you have to light on Shabbat? How many lights does a woman have to light?
2.
2 or 1? According to halakha. It's enough to light 1 according to halakha. But they said you have to light 2. Why? Zachor v'shamor. Remember the Shabbat and watch the Shabbat. So, the women, they don't have tefillin, they don't have a brit milah. What do they have instead? The 2 lights of Shabbat. Hadlakat nerot they have. Why? They don't have tefillin and they don't have brit milah. So instead of that, they have the 2 Shabbat candles. Why? The Chachamim say that really anybody could light the Shabbat candles. Anybody could light it, but you have to let your wife do it. The wife has first rights. Why? Because that's their ot. That's their testification that they have a covenant with Hashem. Now these 2 ots that they have, we had a woman in Jewish history, the only female judge. Who was she? Devorah. In Spanish say Deborah. Devorah HaNevi'ah. If you open up the book of Shoftim, there was a lady over there in the time that no man knew Torah almost. No man. The greatest rabbi was a woman. Chas Shalom, she wasn't reformed, don't get me wrong guys. She wasn't reformed, not conservative, she was orthodox. But she knew Torah greater than anybody else. What could you do? If she knew Torah, she knew Torah. She was the greatest judge. What was her job? What did she do? She used to make candles for the Beit HaMikdash. She was called Eshet Lapidot, the wife of the man who used to bring candles to the Beit HaMikdash. Why did she used to bring the candles? Because those candles, that's the woman's ot. That's the woman's brit. The 2 candles of Shabbat. What happened? She had a husband called Barak. Yes, Barak is a Jewish name. It means thunder. His name was Barak ben Avinoam. He was a general. Back then, the Jewish people were slaves in Israel. They were slaves to a king called Yachin Melech Canaan. He had 900 chariots made out of steel. When the Jews left Egypt, how many chariots did the Paro have? 600. In the time of Devorah, how many chariots did he have? 900. The Galut was even deeper. In Israel. Devorah told her husband Barak, go gather all the Jews, we're going to fight against this king. He had a general called Sisra. Sisra, you know on Rosh Hashanah, how many times we blow the shofar, guys? According to the Torah, it's enough to blow it 7 times. Even 1 blow is enough. But misafek, we blow it 30 times, and to go even stronger, we blow it 100 times, and at the end we blow one long truah 101 times. Why do we blow it 101 times? Because when Sisra lost the war, his mother cried 100 cries. She cried 100 times. To break the klipa of Sisra's mother, we blow the shofar 101 times. Could you imagine? Her impurity was so strong that even till today we have to break it. Now hear this great chidush, the Ari Kadosh. The Ari HaKadosh says, when Sisra went to fight against Barak, Barak told his wife Devorah, come with me to fight against Sisra. Out of all the Jews, only 2 tribes went to fight with him. Zevulun and Naphtali. 10,000 men. Hashem made a miracle, and like his name, Barak, thunder, he made thunder and lightning, and they were able to destroy the enemy, and Sisra fled. Sisra ran away. He ran away, till he got to the tent of a man called Chever Akeni, and his wife called Yael. Her husband wasn't home, he was running away, he went inside the tent, and he told the wife, Yael, give me something to drink. Give me water. What did she give him? She gave him milk. Why? Rashi said she wanted to know if he was sane enough to know the difference between milk and water. Milk makes you tired. He drank the milk and he slept. But really, the Gemara says the secret was to make Sisra tired, she slept with him. 7 times. She slept with him 7 times. And the Ari HaKadosh said, from that came out Rabbi Akiva. From the dot. Because where does the zera come from? From the mind. Of Sisra, from that klipa, from that impurity, came out the soul of the ancestors of Rabbi Akiva. Only one other place in history do we have one other guy who came out from the dot. Who is that? Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu came out from the dot of Paro. That's why Paro had to raise him. But when Moshe left Egypt, how many chariots went after him? 600. When Sisra went to fight against Barak, how many chariots he went with him? 900. When Moshe Rabbeinu had no water to give the Jews, what did he do? He hit the rock. When Rabbi Akiva went to learn in yeshiva, what did he see? He saw that the rock had a hole in it. When Moshe Rabbeinu taught Torah, he taught Torah to the whole Am Yisrael. Rabbi Akiva's name from one end of the world to the other end of the world. But Moshe Rabbeinu only gave the written Torah. Who gave the oral Torah? Rabbi Akiva. Now you know why Moshe Rabbeinu said, you have a guy like this and you're going to give me the Torah? You have to give this guy the Torah. You have to give Rabbi Akiva the Torah. Because Rabbi Akiva came from the deepest impurity. He came from the dot of Sisra. He came from the klipa of Sisra, from the impurity of Sisra. The impurity of Sisra was greater than the impurity of Paro. That's why after Pesach, what comes? Sfirat HaOmer. What do we do in Sfirat HaOmer? We mourn the deaths of the students of Rabbi Akiva. And what does Rabbi Akiva say is the tikkun? Ve'ahavta lera'echa kamocha. Every Jew has to love one another. Why did the students of Rabbi Akiva die? Because they didn't love each other. When the Jews got the Torah before Har Sinai, Rashi says they were like one person. They all loved each other. Rabbi Akiva had the power to combine all the Jewish souls. How do we know that? You're not going to believe it. Because when he was in Amaaretz, what did he say? Give me a Talmid Chacham, I'm going to bite him like a donkey. What does that have to do with anything? It's a bad thing. No. Anything that Gemara writes, it's based on Kabbalah. It's based on the secrets of the Torah. You know why he said like a donkey? The Ari says, when the Jews built the golden calf, it was really 2. Because the klipa, the Yetzer Hara, is male and female. The male is a bull and the female is a donkey. They built a male and a female together, back to back, combined with gold. But Moshe Rabbeinu was only able to destroy the bull. He was only able to destroy the male. Rabbi Akiva's soul had the power to destroy the female. What's the female? That's the chamor, the donkey. That's why all of his life he used to say, Bechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha. With all your soul you have to love God, with all your might. What is that? Until your soul leaves your body. The only way to destroy the female Yetzer Hara, the female, that's the female that makes everybody in our generation crazy. To do Yetzer Hara, to do Znut and Arayot and Zer Levatala. The only way to destroy her is through sacrifice. That's why Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, Shtok. Kach ala b'machshava. Rabbi Akiva's job in this world is even greater than yours. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Gilgul of Hevel, the son of Adam HaRishon. Rabbi Akiva was the Gilgul, the reincarnation of Cain, the older brother. He had the power to fix all of Am Yisrael. But Rabbi Akiva, but the Ari says it's even deeper. Rabbi Akiva was even the Gilgul of Yaakov Avinu. Why does Yaakov Avinu called Yaakov? Because he was holding the ankle of Esav. That's why they called him Yaakov. Ankle in Hebrew is Ekev. It's amazing. What is Akiva? Akiva is the same letters as Yaakov. Yaakov Avinu did one mistake. One mistake he did. Before he died, he wanted to tell his children when is Mashiach coming. He wanted to say when Rabbi Akiva is coming. What happened? Hashem said, you're not allowed to say it. And the Ruach HaKodesh left him, the divine presence. He made a mistake. It was a sin, the Ari says. Of course, we are nobody to say that he made a sin, chas v'shalom, but all in Limud Torah. Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu came back in the Gilgul as who? Rabbi Akiva. To fix the sin of when Mashiach is going to come. But Rabbi Akiva made the same mistake. What did he do? He thought Bar Kochva was Mashiach. Now you know why the Rambam says in Ilchot Mashiach that Rabbi Akiva was the arms bearer of Bar Kochva, the false Mashiach. And the Chachamim told him he's not Mashiach. What were they trying to hint to him? You're Mashiach. That's why he is Akiva ben Yosef. Rabbi Akiva was supposed to be the one to fight the wars of Hashem. He was supposed to fix the sin of Adam HaRishon. But what happened? His students didn't have love between each other. They hated one each other. They looked at Torah as a competition. And that's the biggest sin of Am Yisrael. Sinat Chinam.
So Hashem did that though.
Hashem did that, but Rabbi Akiva had a chance to change it, but he didn't. But look at the name of Akiva. Akiva means heel. Why heel? All of the Jews in this generation are from the heels of Adam HaRishon. Every Jew from the time of Rabbi Akiva till today is learning the Torah of the heels of Adam HaRishon. What is the heels? That's Rabbi Akiva. The Ariya Kadosh's student, Reb Chaim Vital, was the Gilgul of Rabbi Akiva too. And he was supposed to be Mashiach. He was supposed to fix the sin of Adam HaRishon. But he didn't. Why? There was no love between each other. That's what the Sfirat HaOmer is, Rabotai. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's Sfirat HaOmer. Why does it take 50 days? It takes 50 days. It's 50 gates of Binah. 50 gates of wisdom, of understanding. You don't need wisdom. You need to understand one another. The Gemara says, Rav Nachman of Breslov also says this, in the name of the Gemara. In our generation, you can't criticize a person. Because our souls are so low, one criticism could break a person's neshama. It could break a person's neshama. When a person is a child, as children, We take our children and we criticize them. We say, you did wrong, you did bad. That's exactly the students of Rabbi Akiva. If you're a Rebbe in school, you have souls. If you're a parent, you have souls. If you're Rabbi Akiva, he had souls. The Ramami Pano says that Rabbi Akiva should have changed the students. He didn't. Chas Shalom, he was almost liable to death. He was supposed to die on Lag BaOmer, but he didn't. And then what did he say? Va'ahavta l're'echa kamocha. I'm going to tell you guys a secret. We're going to end with a secret. After Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students died, he had 5 other students. Who were they? Rabbi Meir Baal Hanes, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, Rabbi Nehemiah, Rabbi Elazar ben Shamoa, and the last one, but not least, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the one that revealed what? The Zohar HaKadosh, the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah is called Etz HaChaim, the tree of life. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says the only way to reach the true understanding of the secrets of the Torah is if a person gets to the level where he loves every Jew. Because when a person hates each other, when we hate each other, Rabotai, you know what you are? It's Hadat, the tree of knowledge, Tovara. Why is the tree of knowledge called bad and good? Good and evil. You know why it's called good and evil? Because really, the Torah was supposed to be just halakha. This is okay, this is not. This is what happened when Adam HaRishon sinned. He caused a bilbul. He caused a confusion. Now to get to the halakha, each rabbi has to fight each other. Is this good? Is this not? Is this the tameh tahor, pure, impure, kosher, not kosher? Is this like this? This week's parasha, we learn about kosher animals, right? We learn about kosher animals. We learn about kosher fish. Everything in the Torah became good and evil. But there is one kind of Torah that's only good. What is that? The secrets of the Torah. The Zohar HaKadosh, the Ari HaKadosh, the Rashash HaKadosh. But to reach that level, you have to fix the sin of the students of Rabbi Akiva. And that instead of hating one another, we have to accept one another. Even though you have family members who don't keep Shabbat. Even though you have family members, Chas Shalom, that are far away from the Torah, they don't put on tefillin, they could be, Chas Shalom, I don't even want to say, znut, arayot. Our job in this generation is not to criticize anyone. Our job today is to accept everyone. Because the Rabbi Akiva said, Ve'ahavta lere'echa kamocha, ze klal gadol b'Torah. Loving every single Jew, that is the rule of the Torah. That is the only rule of the Torah. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Thank you everyone for coming today.